Red Riding Hood. A little girl named Red Riding Hood lived with her mother in a cottage at the edge of a forest. Her father was a woodcutter. She always wore a red hooded coat that her grandma made for her. That is why she was called Red Riding Hood. Her grandmother lived alone in a rose-covered cottage at the other edge of the forest. Red Riding Hood loved her grandmother very much and liked to visit her as often as possible. One day her mother said to her, "Why don't you go to your grandmother's house for tea today? She has not been well. I have baked a cake and prepared some fruit juice for her." She put the food in a basket and gave it to Red Riding Hood. She told her not to stray away from the path which led to her grandmother's cottage. She also instructed her not to stop to talk to anyone on the way, especially strangers. Red Riding Hood nodded her head and promised her mother that she would go straight to her grandmother's cottage. Then her mother waved goodbye to her. The little girl merrily went on her way. After some time, she met a wolf. The wolf was wicked and mean and very hungry. The wolf sweetly asked her where she was going. Little Red Riding Hood replied that she was going to visit her grandmother. She also told the wolf about the food she was taking to her. The wolf asked her where her grandmother lived. Little Red Riding Hood told the wolf where the cottage was and even told him how to reach it. The wicked wolf then told the little girl to collect flowers for her grandmother. Red Riding Hood began to collect flowers and the wolf went away. The wolf went towards Red Riding Hood's grandmother's cottage. He said to himself, "Aha! I will eat the old grandmother now and Little Red Riding Hood at lunch." Reaching the cottage, the wolf knocked at the door. The grandmother was an old lady. She could not come to the door. She told the wolf to lift the door latch and come in. Thus, the wolf entered the cottage. Quickly, he jumped on the old lady and ate her up. Gulp! Now, the wolf shut the door, wore the grandmother's clothes, and lay down on her bed. It hid itself under the bed sheet and waited for Red Riding Hood. After a while, Red Riding Hood knocked at the door. In a voice which sounded just like the grandmother, the wolf told her to lift the latch and come in. She did. Little Red Riding Hood said, "My mother has sent some cake and fruit juice for you, but your voice seems strange. Why are you in bed?" The wolf said, "I am not feeling very well. Come, child, and sit on the bed." Red Riding Hood came near and was surprised to see the way her grandmother looked. She said, "Oh, grandmother, what big eyes you have!" The wolf replied, "It is so that I can see you better." Red Riding Hood then said, What big ears you have!" The wolf replied, It is so that I can hear you better, Red Riding Hood said. What big teeth you have! The wolf replied, It is so that I can eat you up! The wolf jumped out of the bed and rushed towards Red Riding Hood to eat her. Oh my God! Little Red Riding Hood ran screaming to the door of the cottage. As soon as the wolf got her red dress, the cottage door opened and her father came rushing in. He killed the wolf with his axe. Then he held Red Riding Hood in his arms. She told him, Oh, father, I think the wolf has eaten up dear grandmother. Her father quickly cut the wolf open with a knife and found the old lady inside the wolf's body. As the wolf was greedy, he had just swallowed the grandmother. He had not chewed her. Because of this, she was safe and sound inside the wolf's body. The three of them sat down to enjoy the food that Little Red Riding Hood's mother had packed. Now Red Riding Hood promised them, I will never talk to any stranger again. I will always obey my mother and never stray away from the path.
For more entertainment, log on and subscribe to www.youtube.com/VenusKidsWorld.